Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO. Free, impartial advice on all your debt. This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Well, it's been hard work to try and pin down the Cobra this week. I think it's taken me a week to pin the Cobra down.
We was, how are you, mate? Anyway, you all right?
I'm all right. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. You don't play golf, do you?
No, but I did go golf the other day, but I didn't actually play it, which doesn't really mean anything. But
no, you don't play golf. That's it. I've got my handicap down to 18 now. I'm really, really pleased with myself. But if you play golf, I was going to invite you up because I've got a couple of people coming up for a game. And I need one more. But if you don't play, forget it. Forget I even mentioned it.
Can't I drive the car?
Actually, it could be like the caddy if you want. A caddy that I don't listen to.
Yeah, I could be a caddy. I was caddy for Tyson Fury the other day, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I was playing. I wasn't playing, but I was there. It's kind of thing, so. I'll be your caddy. What?
He's a bit too big. He's a bit too big to play golf, isn't he? Surely.
Nah, he's all right at golf.
Really? Got a bit of a dry car.
And his trainer, Sugar Hill, he can play as well.
Yeah, well. A lot of people claim they can play golf, and then when you actually play over 18 holes, you put in a score over 100, and you think, no, you can't play. But anyway, if you don't play, you don't play. Let's move on. What's happening?
Where shall we start, really? I haven't spoken to you for quite some time. I don't think I've interviewed you for a good month. Maybe longer, maybe about 6 weeks. So quite a lot's happened in that 6 week period.
I had the summer away, didn't I? I was in Spain for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Tired. It's got my kids to bed, mate. And I was nodding off with Natalia, my daughter. She will not go to sleep without me lying there stroking about. That's it, and singing to her. Well, you've got all that to come now.
I've got all that to come in February, so yeah, I can't wait.
I've already congratulated you, but congratulations again to your face. Now I can see you. Well done, mate.
Thank you very much. Yeah, during February.
Your life's about to change massively, but for the better.
I've heard. Little girl as well.
I hope she's a good woman, mate, because you need one, because it's you need to be able to just give them to the mum now and again and say, there you go, just let me do my thing for a bit.
She's a very good woman, so no problems there.
All right, then, mate. As long as I've got a good mum.
Okay, so let's start with we can start with Dillian White and Povetkin. Their rematch was announced a week and a bit ago, for November the 21st. In your opinion, the right decision for him to jump straight back in with the rematch with Povetkin?
Yeah, I think that it was a lapse of concentration in that first fight. He was doing really well. I think he was doing everything right. I would have liked to see him press it a little bit more when he had Povetkin hurt, because although it was only like flash knockdowns, he still went down twice. And Dillian, when he puts his foot on the gas, when he puts the pressure on, he swings away and he's quite dangerous. He punches hard, doesn't he? So it's always in hindsight that you look back and say, oh, I should have gone for it when they didn't hurt. But I don't know. I like to see that tenacious finisher that steps on the gas when they've got him hurt. AJ is good at that. And let's be honest, when Anthony Joshua's got his opponent hurt, he's good at stepping forward, letting combination punches go in and trying to get the finish. And Dillian White just sort of sat back, took his time, which, against a really experienced Povetkin, somebody like him who's been in with everybody, and he had a very good amateur career as well. I mean, you don't want to rush it, so I could see what he was doing. But, that aside, he boxed really well. He had a great start, put Povetkin over twice, and then I think he just switched off in that round. Was it round 6? Round 5 he put him down twice.
No, he was... Yeah, the knockout came in round 5. This was round 4 that he had him down twice.
It was a great round for him, wasn't it? And they come out round 5 and probably just thought, I'll take my time. There's no rush. They've still got 7-8 rounds to go. And he just, I don't know. What did he do? I'm going to say that he lost concentration momentarily. And he sat in front of his opponent, sat in front of Povetkin. He didn't really do much. Povetkin did a little fake, got down on that left leg and came up with that bomb of an uppercut. I mean, it was a great punch. really good. It wasn't a lucky punch. It was he looked for the punch and he found it. Povetkin. He's very experienced, and he landed flush on the chin of White, and White was kind of caught. What was he doing? I don't know if he was trying to jab, if he was looking for the hook counter, or if he was. But he was flat-footed, and his the gap was in between the arms, and he got caught flush. It wasn't a lucky punch, but from White's point of view, that was real bad luck. That was a bad luck because he switched off. That punch got thrown. He didn't really see it coming, did he? Because it came out of the vision, and it put him out. But I don't think he's in danger of that happening. That probably happened once in your whole bloody career. That would. I mean, it's one of them things. But he's got the rematch, and you've got to say that Dillian White is a massive favourite in the rematch, even though he got knocked out in that first one. You've got to make him a big favourite because of the way in which the fight was going. He had Povetkin hurt. He had him down twice. He seemed to be outboxing him. He won most rounds, didn't he? I think there's a couple of rounds that were close. Could have gone either way. But, yeah, for me, I was sick, mate. I was gutted. I was really, really behind it. I like Dillian. I've had some good chats with him. I think he's a cool guy. He's honest. He's down to earth. He's really sort of, he knows what he wants to do. And he's just quite gritty and quite, I don't know what word to explain him, but there's no real nonsense with him. And I quite like that, you know. And yeah, quite upset when I saw that. It ruined my. I was in Spain at the time. I had to go out and find it because there's no Sky out there, not officially anyway. So I had to go and find somewhere that showed it, and I got somewhere, and then that bloody happened. But yeah. It is what it is. You have to get up, dust yourself off, and move on. Which I've told him. I had him on my podcast, FROCH on Fighting, last week. I know you watched it. You're a big fan. You subscribe as well. I appreciate that. So I had him on that, and it was good to talk to him. He's back in Portugal, back in training for the rematch, which is 21st of November, I believe. And yeah, I think he'll win. I think he'll stop Povetkin. If he doesn't, I think he wins on points, but I reckon we'll get him out of there because Povetkin was starting to fade, got put over twice, starting to tire. Just, you know, what happened. But I'm sure Dillian White knows what he needs to do in the rematch to set the record straight and move on from that loss.
It was much publicised that he was sitting there as number one for over 2 years, and he was taking what was perceived to be risky fights one after the other. After Chisora, it was Joseph Parker, then Oscar Rivas, and now Povetkin. Was it a case of where he was so close to becoming kind of the official mandatory challenger to Fury and Wilder? Was it a case of just maybe one fight too many in that respect? Because all these fights he was taking were voluntary fights. They were almost like handpicking these opponents for Dillian White. Yeah,
but it was taking good opponents and doing the job on them. You know, you can't. I mean, that Oscar Rivas fight was a great fight to watch. I thought he did well. He finished strong. He looked great against a top quality opponent there. And if he'd have beat Povetkin like he was beating him, and if he'd have finished him off and got the win, he wouldn't have been complaining, would you? He wouldn't have been worried that he took too many hard fights on the bounce. So no, I don't subscribe to that. He's tapping on the door for a world title, and to fight quality opponents before you fight for the big one. I think it's a good move, and I think it's great experience for him. And I think all the decisions that have been made for him and the people he's fought have been right. I mean, it's just like I said earlier, he got caught with a stinker of a punch because he switched off. You can't look into it too much and make any real too many like negative analogies from, you know, up to every event leading up to that point. You can't then say, oh, that's because of that. So no, he's took quality opponents. He's done the job. Since losing to AJ, he's come back really good and looked good. And I like what he's been doing. It's just unfortunate he got caught, but like they all keep saying, it's heavyweight boxing, but it is, isn't it? I mean, all the top fighters have been KO'd. I'm not going to bore you and go through the list because I'm sure you know them all, but you know, the top fighters get knocked out and they come back. The ones that really want it, the ones that mean business, come back and they put it right. And I'm sure Dillian White will do.
November 21st. Another fight that was announced last week was the scheduled to take place back in May between Derek Chisora and Alexander Usyk, which has had a little bit more of a build-up. It will take place at the end of next month in October on the 31st. And this is a real introduction. I know he's had a fight at heavyweight, Usyk, but this is really kind of his real, like I said, introduction into the heavyweight division against someone like Derek Chisora, who's very seasoned and experienced.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's Usyk's welcome to the heavyweight fight, and welcome to the heavyweight division. And we're going to find out now if Usyk is, if he belongs at heavyweight. And I don't want to say that Derek Chisora is just cannon fodder, or he's just a stepping stone, or just a tester in like the first test. But everybody's making Usyk the favourite, everybody except for David Haye, you know. And, you know, you can't really argue that Usyk's got the class, the quality, the ability, the skills, you know, the foot movement, the speed. If you want to start breaking everything down that he does well, you can do. But he's very, very talented, isn't he, Usyk? Very, very good. But the massive question mark, which I have to agree with David Haye, we don't know if he belongs at heavyweight. We don't know if he can perform at heavyweight. He's had one fight at heavyweight. He's not beat anybody at heavyweight that's going to make you think, oh dear, he's a threat. He's a threat to AJ, Wilder, even Dubois, Tyson Fury, because that's where we're looking. You know, that's where we're thinking that Usyk maybe can challenge them kind of opponents. And this fight with Derek Chisora, if he can do the business against somebody big and strong and bolshy, and someone who comes forward who's going to be coming to win and use everything they've got in their toolbox and everything in their advantage, like, you know, Derek Chisora knows he's bigger and stronger and heavier. He knows this, and he's going to use that, especially early on. Well, he should be anyway, early on, and sticking it on Usyk, putting him up, pulling it on him, but educated, not rushing it, not being stupid, but putting the pressure on Usyk, leaning on him, grabbing him where he can, bullying him around a bit, giving him little slaps around the side of the head where he can, around the body, back of the rib cage. All the tricks he needs to be sticking on Usyk early, without being careless. And he's got a chance. Of course he's got a chance. It's heavyweight boxing. We don't actually know if it is heavyweight boxing for Usyk. We're going to find out, aren't we? But this is what we want to find out. Can Usyk compete with a very good heavyweight? And you've got to say that Derek Chisora is a very good heavyweight. Does he belong in the top 4, top 5 in the world? We don't know, but he'd give any of them a really good fight, won't he? So great fight. Really looking forward to it. And I'm excited as well to see what Usyk looks like. See if he does belong at heavyweight division, to see if he can be a threat to the heavyweights. Does Anthony Joshua want that steam? Does he want it? We don't know. We'll find out, won't we? But at the minute, it's Usyk now just developing as a potential heavyweight. So we look forward to it.
Absolutely.
Siri just woke up on my phone for some reason.
October 31st.
Yeah, October 31st. Yeah, looking forward to that one. That's before the Chisora
White Povetkin one. That's before, yeah.
White Povetkin fight. Yeah, before the White Povetkin rematch. So it's good. I mean, 2 good fights there to look forward to.
Definitely.
And then hopefully before Christmas there'll be a third one.
Well, potentially before Christmas we should have the trilogy fight between Fury and Wilder, and also AJ and Pulev. So, when I was talking to Eddie Hearn last week, he's suggested that Deontay Wilder has been quiet since his defeat to Fury, which was back in February now. We haven't heard too much from him. What does that tell you, if that is the case?
Right. First of all, what I need to know is this fight definitely on, the rematch? And is it on before Christmas, or does nobody yet know?
Well, the date that's been touted for it is the 19th of December in Las Vegas. Tyson Fury is training for that date. It's not been confirmed yet, so I can't say yes, it's on like Usyk, Chisora and White Povetkin. But
so your question was, is it good that we've not heard from Wilder?
No, what do you make of the fact that he's not been as vocal? I suppose it's been quite a few months since that defeat now, isn't it? And we've not heard loads from Wilder. I'm just asking what that tells you.
No, he got writ off, didn't he, when he said that the outfit was too heavy, bless him. He just said that the outfit was too heavy on the ring walk. His legs got tired. And everybody wrote him off because of that. Everyone was like taking the piss out of him and laughing at him, saying, "Oh, I can't believe he said that." And, you know, he obviously came up with that reason at short notice. It didn't go down well, did it? But I don't know, Tyson Fury just put so much pressure on him from the start and backed him up, and he was so much bigger than him. And there's you know, that height and reach and that size and that awkwardness. I thought Wilder really, you know, I felt a bit sorry for him in there. He was trying, he was letting shots go, he was getting caught, got stopped on his feet, didn't he? The ref jumped in, the towel came in, he was like, "What's going off? Why stop the fight?" But he got a bit of a shrallicking, didn't he? So I don't know. What's he going to do in the rematch? He could just look for a big punch. I don't see how he can outbox and beat Fury. Just based on how that first fight went, the first and the second fight, actually. I don't think he can outbox Fury, so he's going to have to try and chin him. Can he land a big shot? Maybe. Of course, you know, he's going to throw a few, so maybe that's his plan. Maybe just bide his time and try and land the big shot. But I don't know. I can't see it. The fact that it's been very quiet and really, really, you know, it's been under the radar on the build-up. Hopefully that means he's training really hard. And I don't say hopefully as in hopefully he comes and beats Fury, because I want Fury to win the rematch. I make no mistake about that. Fury's our guy and he's British. He's just such a big character. He's brilliant. I think he's absolutely great, to be honest. I've really become more. I've known Fury for years. I mean, a lot of people don't know we trained in Castlebar, County Mayo together before my first world title fight against Pascal. So I was fighting sparring a guy called Louis Garcia, and Tyson was fighting that Perez, a heavyweight. And the spars every day were brilliant between me and Fury. You know, Fury and Perez and myself and Garcia. I was getting beat up most of the time for 4 or 5 rounds. And then when this kid slowed down, have you ever heard of Louis Garcia? Do you know him? Real talented Cuban. He came over and he stayed in Ireland. I don't know what's happened to him now. I think he's finished. But anyway, he was tapping his foot and hitting me with uppercuts and just double, treble, quadruple jabs, knocking my head back and spinning me around and chucking me all over the ring. And Tyson Fury would then get in and have a fight with that Perez. I'm sure it was Perez. And them two came over together. And was both promoted by Mick Hennessy. So we spent a lot of time together in the camps and in and around when we was out with Mick Hennessy and, you know, on the build-up. And I got quite close to Tyson Fury. And then, obviously, when I became world champ, I think he made his pro debut, actually, on my world title fight. I don't know why I can't remember that so clearly. But when I boxed Pascal, Tyson Fury was on the undercard on that night. I'm sure he was. Can you tell me if that's correct or not?
I can. If you give me, if you talk.
Anyway, me and Tyson Fury are quite good mates. We keep in touch. I talk to him quite regular because I did that little thing on my podcast, FROCH on Fighting, where he called AJ a few names and he had a go at him because he does. That's what he does. And yeah, so I hope Fury wins a rematch. Nothing against Deontay Wilder. I think he's a cool guy. I quite like him. Dangerous puncher, top fighter. Come on, let's be honest. He's knocked out nearly all of his opponents that he's fought. Anyone he hits on the chin, he puts to sleep. He's great to watch, dead exciting. He can be losing 10, 11 rounds, and then he'll knock the guy out in the last round, and you just think, oh, yeah, that was a big shot. But I think Fury's got his number. And I'm hoping that because he's been quiet in the rematch, because Wilder's been quiet, hoping that means that he's been locking off, training really hard, getting the right sparring, you know, doing everything he needs to do to try and win the rematch. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to make any difference. I think Fury's going to be all right in that one. But you never know, do you? Heavyweight boxing. Good luck to the both of them. May the best man win, but I'm backing Fury and I hope Fury wins. Should be good.
Just to go back to what you're saying, I've just got that card up here, which was on the 6th of December in Nottingham. And yes, you are correct.
2008.
2008. Apologies. 2008, 6th of December. Yes, Tyson Fury's debut against Bella Giangossi.
Yeah, so he made his debut on my first world title fight. So
correct.
We spent a lot of time. in the build up to that. Do you remember John O'Donnell? He was out there on camp as well.
Yeah.
Darren Barker came out there, who was sparring. So we had a good camp out there, Castlebar, County Mayor. And I've always liked Fury. We've always got on. So yeah, I think he'll win the rematch. I hope that Wilder's took it really seriously. I hope that his silence is because he's working really hard and he's going to come and make a good, give himself a good chance of trying to defeat Tyson Fury. We shall see.
Sorry, Carl, do you put Fury as the #1 heavyweight in the world currently today?
It's tough, isn't it? Because AJ's done so much and he's had some great wins, AJ has, and the manner in which he beats him. I mean, just the Povetkin win, when you look at what Povetkin did to White. And then I watched that fight back on Sky the other day. I just downloaded it and I did another look. And you take that for granted, them kind of fights. You just think, oh, well, Povetkin is past his best. He's getting quite old, 40 years old, whatever. But, AJ jumped in there with him after the Klitschko fight. And the Klitschko fight was great as well. I mean, he got put down and hurt in that Klitschko fight. And he came back. So they're both different fighters. AJ, I feel that he hasn't got that natural boxing ability, that natural talent that Tyson Fury's got, but he's more naturally athletic. I feel like he's stronger, he punches harder. He's got Olympic gold medal, so he's obviously got the experience at that level. But I don't know, he's kind of, I don't want to say it's forced or played down. AJ's a great fighter. I've seen him in the gym and all sparring, so he's a top fighter. But Tyson Fury is one of them. It's just a naturally talented, really real quality, real elusive ability. His speed and his light for a heavyweight, because he's so quick and nimble and light on his feet. If you're going to compare two fights, compare the Klitschko that Fury beat against the Klitschko that AJ beat. Klitschko had been sat on the sofa for 18 months before AJ fought him. And it kind of came out of retirement to fight AJ. Am I right in saying that? It'd been really inactive. And he gave AJ a really hard fight, put him over. And AJ fought fantastic, climbed off the canvas, got the win. It was brilliant. I was there that night commentating. It's one of the best fights I've been to live, to sit and watch in terms of the dramatics. I was working the show on Sky and my heart was going. I was shouting, trying to commentate and trying to keep my emotions in check. And it was just awesome. And for AJ to finish it the way he did, it's brilliant. You've got to give him his credit. But the fight with Fury and Klitschko, 2 or 3 years before that, Fury just did what he does. I mean, it wasn't a very intended fight. I'm not going to say it was as good as the AJ fight, because it wasn't. It was just a messy, awkward, horrible affair. But Fury got in there and was tricky and awkward and fast, and he was nonchalant in the way in which he was fighting him. His looks, the stares on his face, his body language, and it was quite an easy night's work for Fury. He made quite an easy night for it, and he fought a better Klitschko. People can argue all they want, but he fought a better Klitschko than what AJ did, and he made an easier night of it. And when you compare them two, on that one fight alone, you've got to say that Fury probably belongs at #1 in the heavyweight division, especially given the fact that he's beat Wilder twice, once officially, but twice in my card, in my opinion. And AJ's lost to Ruiz. And Ruiz has done nothing before. I don't think he's going to do much after the loss to AJ. I know he's coming back. But when you look at that, and if you're honest with yourself, as much as an AJ fan as I am, and if you're, I like both these guys. I trained with AJ for quite a few years. And Robert Kraken looks after him. So, just pushing all my agendas aside, and I'm just looking at two fighters, I just feel that Tyson Fury belongs above Anthony Joshua, just ever so slightly. And that doesn't mean, just based on what they've done, based on their careers. But that doesn't mean that Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua. That doesn't mean I'm saying that.
So
you didn't want me to finish there, did you?
No. I'll just ask you, by you answering the question in the way you did, I'm assuming that you're not going to favour one over the other right now.
Well, I'm putting Fury at #1, so I think you've got to. I think you've got to put Tyson Fury. You can't not put Tyson Fury at #1 above Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua got beat. Tyson Fury is undefeated. Tyson Fury's beat Klitschko, and he's beat Deontay Wilder. I know AJ's beat Klitschko, but he struggled. And like I said, Klitschko's sat on the sofa for 18 months, and that doesn't do you any good before a big fight. Let me tell you. I know he had a training camp, obviously, but he was kind of retired. And then AJ went and lost to Ruiz, and I know he got the rematch. He won the rematch, but I need to see. Ask me again after he's fought Pulev, and if AJ goes in there and does a real job on Pulev and looks good and looks hungry and backs him up, I'm not saying he has to get the stoppage, but if he did, then that'd be a great win in terms of the way he wins. But I need to see him. I need to see Anthony Joshua in a boxing match where it's give and take a bit, and where he's under pressure, where he's uncomfortable for a couple of rounds, and I see him come through that and land shots and take a couple and dig his heels in and bite down on his gum shield and have a bit of a scrap and come out on top. Because the Ruiz loss, for me, was a bad loss. And, and I said it before the rematch, I need to see him in another fight before. I wouldn't like to see him jump straight in there with Fury or anyone who's that dangerous. I think this is a great fight for him. Really sensible against Pulev. And I think he'll beat Pulev regardless. But I really want to see AJ look the nuts against Pulev. I want to see him boxing and moving and outworking him and outclassing him. Then I want to see him step on the gas, put a combination together and get him fucking right out of there in style. And then I'll be like, boom, there we go. Let's get it on. Fury needs to beat Wilder again, which I've already said I think he will. And then we've got ourselves an amazing fight. Two British fighters for the undisputed unified heavyweight title. As long as that WBC title's still there. What's going to happen now when... I don't think that's going to matter, is it? When White beats... if White beats Povetkin, let's not write Povetkin off. But if White beats Povetkin, then what's the script then? He's kind of not in the way of that scenario, is he? The Fury AJ fight, because he won't be mandatory, will he? Obviously, he'll be mandatory, but he won't have like an immediate position to fight for the WBC after beating.
As far as I know, if White beats Povetkin, they will obviously push with the WBC Hearn and White to have White reinstated to the position he was before the first Povetkin fight. What happens after that, I don't know whether that will be the case, but there will be a mandatory there.
Hearn ain't going to chuck a spanner in the works for the potential AJ Fury fight.
But there's also the mandatory for the WBO, which could be Usyk. Well,
they signed Usyk anyway, so he's got that one sorted.
Well, I don't know. You don't know, yeah.
No flies on any Hearn. No, let's if Fury beats Wilder, which I'm sure he will, and AJ does the job against Kubrat Pulev, which he better do, but he better look good doing it. When they both won, that's the fight, isn't it? That's got to happen. Surely.
So is that when you'll be in a better position to answer who wins that fight?
So you want to know who wins out of AJ and Fury?
Today, but I'm asking...
if they fought in their next fight, if AJ and Fury boxed in their next fight, I think Fury's a strong favourite to beat AJ. I really do. I'm just looking at form and fights they've been involved in and going straight into that after beating... For AJ to go straight into that after beating Ruiz in that rematch. It was too easy for him. It's just an easy rematch. He boxed really good. Give him credit. He did what he had to do to get the belts back, but it was just too easy. Just too easy. And that was partly Ruiz's fault, wasn't it?
Well, listen, before we can even think about that fight, a lot has to happen this year. So, we always end up talking about fights that haven't happened yet.
I want to see AJ look good against Kubrat Pulev, which I'm sure he will. I think Rob McCracken will be telling him what he needs to do, and he realised that he wants to do a job. And when he finds his range and he's outboxing Kubrat Pulev for 6-7 rounds, I'm sure he'll think to himself, right, now's the time. He'll start enjoying himself and he'll get the cobwebs off, because it's been a big break with this COVID nonsense. It's put everybody back, and nobody's been busy, have they? There's been big gaps now between fights, so I just think once he's got the Kubrat Pulev fight done and dusted, and he's look good doing it, we have a conversation about who wins the AJ Fury fight. And I might be saying, I might be a bit different. At the minute, I just make Fury the favourite. I think you have to. I don't know how you can not make Fury favourite. And I'm not saying that don't mean he hasn't got a chance, because of course he has, because Anthony Joshua is a big, strong, fantastic fighter. He's a top heavyweight, let's be honest. It's between him and Fury for the #1 spot in the world. It has to be. And that's, you know, Deontay Wilder is not big enough. I just think Fury, a lot of people don't think that AJ can beat Deontay Wilder. I disagree. I think Anthony Joshua, he's just too big and too strong for Deontay Wilder. I just think he is. I just think he beats him. So don't look into that fight too much. That win for Fury on Deontay Wilder. Don't be like, oh, he's beat Wilder and AJ couldn't do that, because AJ could beat Deontay Wilder. I'm telling you, he could do. He could beat him quite convincingly, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it's opinions, isn't it? It's opinions of boxing and styles and timing. I just want to see AJ get more experience and have another fight, which is the Pulev fight, before I see him take on Fury, because I don't think it would be good news for him if he fights Fury too quick, which he ain't. He's got the fight. He's got the fight, which I've already said. And let's not forget Fury as well. He's got to fight Wilder again. And Wilder's in hiding at the minute. He's in hiding, getting hypnotised. He might come out and land one of them bombs. Can you imagine? Knocks out Fury. Proper spanner in the works. And it's not out of the question, is it?
No, you can't. Someone who punches as dangerously and as hard as Wilder, you can never, ever rule him out of any fight. That's
that first fight with AJ and Wilder, he got put over quite heavy twice, didn't he? A lot of referees would have ended that fight. They'd have been stood over Fury and gone, bloody hell, it's gone here, he's that cold. But fair play to the ref, he countered, he had a look. He could see there was still something there and he gave him his chance and he got up, Fury did. But yeah, that could have been very different. So I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to the rematch, and I'm looking forward to see what AJ does against Pulev. I really am. And then I can make a decision.
Okay. Have you had a fallout of Piers Morgan?
Oh, a little one. Yeah, not really. He put a little tweet out, so I thought, you know what I don't like? I don't like all the scaremongering and all the negativity that's floating around with this COVID-19. It's too much negative stuff. You put your television on, it's negative, you know. But if you go on the CDC website, which is the Centre for Disease Control, and have a look at the infection to death ratio, and you'll see that between 0 and 19 years old, so babies up to 19 years old, you've got 0.00004 or 7. My photographic memory's slipping a bit. 0.00004% chance of dying. 0.00004. If you're aged between 20 and 50, I think it was, which is my category, nearly in my 40s. I think you got 0.00007, yeah, 4 noughts. So, and if you look at the influenza infection to death ratio, you're in the same ballpark. Yeah. So when you've got people like Piers Morgan telling people to mask up and shut the fuck up and stop this and stop saying that and stop trying to promote a healthy immune system. Stop trying to tell people to be active and be healthy mentally and physically by going to the gym. And we know that it releases so many natural endorphins when you go to the gym. You feel great. If I'm having a bad day and I feel tired and the kids have been playing up and it's just graft and you do the homework and they don't want to do it, or I take Rocco golf and you can't be bothered and it's like, and they don't want to eat the dinner and your head's gone. You go to the gym, go and have an hour in the gym, whether you go on the treadmill or the bike or if you lift a few weights or you go in the swimming pool like I do quite a lot now, get a sweat on, do something physical. You feel great, you feel brilliant, and it's good for you, believe it or not. Going to the gym's really good for you, and eating healthily is really, really good for you. It boosts your immune system. So if you was unlucky enough to pick up COVID-19, which is what everybody's talking about, if you was unlucky enough to pick up that disease, that illness, then you would have a very, very strong chance, a really, really high percentage chance of surviving the illness. Like you'd have to be ridiculously unlucky to be affected in a negative way by COVID-19 if you are under 80 years old, or I think it's under 70. So why go on there and tell people to shut the F up and mask up and stop doing this and stop saying that and just negative, 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 negative? Why don't you put a bit of positivity out there and say, well, actually, you've only got a 0.0004% chance of becoming seriously ill in the unlikely event you get this illness, you know? So I just said to Piers Morgan, why don't you tell people to just eat healthily, train more, and build up the immune system? Obviously, not everybody can train, but you can get outside and do a walk. If you can walk, you can go and do a walk. You might not be able to go and train, but raise your heart rate, you know, eat some healthy organic food, build your immune system up. It's amazing. The human body wants to survive. The human body wants to look after itself. You know, you give the body essential vitamins and minerals down there in the mouth every day, 90 essential vitamins and minerals every day in there, into your stomach, where 95% of diseases manifest. Yeah, you're probably going to be okay. It's probably you've probably got nothing to worry about. But that's not big news. That's not headlines, is it? It's too easy. So I just said to him, give people some positive advice, time to build the immune system, eat healthily and train a bit. And he blocks me. What's he blocking me for? He's blocking me because he's then done to me what he does to everybody on GMB. And by the way, he can't get on anyone on GMB anymore. Nobody will be his guest on Good Morning Britain because they know they just get talked over and shut down. It doesn't let them speak, doesn't let them get up. You ask them a question, and then when they're answering, he'll ask them another question or talk over them and shut them up. So it's like, this is a two-way conversation or not? And it never is with Piers Morgan. And that's why nobody goes on GMB. That's why he'll be getting sacked off Good Morning Britain soon. I've heard it on the inside. He's getting sacked soon from Good Morning Britain. So, and that's because guests don't want to go on there and people don't want to listen to his nonsense. Look at the stick and the abuse he gets. So anyway, I said my little bit, which as far as I'm concerned was really, really good, positive, helpful, useful information. Yeah. So he blocks me. And why did he block me? Because blocking somebody silences them. You can't then have a conversation with them. And that's what he does when he's got a guest on television. He talks over them, he silences them, makes himself feel all satisfied, and then he moves on to the next subjects and gets them off the television. See you later. So he gets a potential good guest on there, and then you don't get to hear the guest speak because Piers Morgan shuts them down. So he shut me down on Twitter and he blocked me. And do you know how much sleep I lost? He got absolutely writ off. So that was it. That's all it was. Anyway, Piers Morgan, you twat.
Okay, Carl, just before we go, just want to ask your opinion about one more fight happening next month between Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. What do you think of that fight? It's a great fight, isn't it?
Really good fight, but I don't know. Lomachenko's just, is he invincible? Is he like a Teflon man? I don't know. I just can't see anybody giving him any. Don't get me wrong, it's a great fight, and he's got a chance of putting, doing something in that fight and making a fight of it. But I don't know. Every time you think that someone's going to do something. I mean, Luke Campbell did really well against Lomachenko. Luke Campbell's a top fighter. But it was just, Lomachenko just manages to make it easy, doesn't he? He just goes through the gears, steps it up. He's absolutely fantastic. He's probably going to be an all-time. Well, he is, but I'm talking about all-time great. So, yeah, looking forward to the fight, but I can only see one winner.
It makes you wonder if Lomachenko had turned professional a few years before he did. Obviously, he had that long, extensive amateur record. Phenomenal.
Yeah,
but
just real
where would he be in his career now?
He has to turn pro, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah, go on.
You was a bit of a late starter anyway, weren't you?
Yeah, I turned professional at 25, I think 2002.
That is late.
25, but I was never going to turn pro. I never had any ambitions. Don't forget, I didn't get back into boxing until I was 19. Back into boxing when I was 19. I've been out for 4 years. So like 14, 15 years old, I never boxed when I moved to Newark. And then when I moved back down to Nottingham and started studying at Clarendon College, that's when I then decided to go back down to the gym. So, you know, I only had just about 5.5, 6 years after it. I had like 40 odd amateur fights as a junior. And I got back into it at 19 years old. And I was straight in the ABAs, fighting Chris Bessie in the final. And then I fought John Pearce the year later, Commonwealth gold medalist. I won the ABAs twice on the spear. I got picked to box for England. And I didn't even know what I was doing, to be honest. I was just throwing big uppercuts because Nassim Hamid used to throw them. I was just getting in the ring and just, you know, obviously when I boxed when I was a kid, so I knew my way around the ring a little bit, but I had no ambition at all of turning professional. I just thought I'd box to get myself fit again, start getting fit, and then won the ABAs a couple of times and got picked to box for England. And met Rob McCracken in Ireland and turned professional on the back of that. Thought I might win a British title if I'm lucky. So yeah, I turned pro quite late at 25, but that's because of the fact that I was never even going to turn pro. If you just saw me at 19 years old driving around in my Orion 1.6 injection gear,
Orion,
electric windows,
wow.
Orion I gear. So it was like an XR3i but with a boot. You just saw me driving around in that, smoking, going out on the weekend, working in clubs, and that's I grew up in pubs from the age of like 13, 14, drinking. You know, you'd have thought, and then you got people who are winning ABA titles and boxing for England, and people are travelling all over. And you look at me and think, look at that skinny 19-year-old kid there, and look at this guy here who's ABA champion or whatever. It's like you can never make judgment or never write yourself off. You can always turn your life around. And there's a story here for people listening. If you're 19 years old and you're smoking and drinking, and you think you can't do anything in life, trust me, you can achieve anything you want within reason. But the fact that I boxed from when I was 8, 9 years old was the reason I was able to get back into boxing at 19. Obviously, that was the reason I was able to get back into it and do what I did. Yeah, I turned pro at 25. And had a 13-year career, almost 24, 25 years old. Retired when I was 36, 37. So I had about 13 years at the game. I did all right. Won a few titles. Got put down a couple of times, but got up to win. Lost to Ward though, didn't I? He got away. Good fighter though, Ward. You got to give him his credit. Got to give him his credit, Ward. I don't like giving him credit, but you got to give him his credit.
Well, that's very nice of you to say.
It's not a bad only loss on your record, is it? I mean, I lost to Kessler, but obviously when you avenge that defeat and you're the last one, you win the rematch. You feel like you've got rid of that. So, you know, the only loss on my record is Ward.
Pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the last 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, I don't ever give him that much credit, and I don't ever say that it's great just because of his style of fighting. You know, I wouldn't say that, but obviously, look at his record, look at his results, and that you've got to give him that big accolade. But I've never been a bum kisser, so I won't say that. I'm not saying you kissing ass, KUGAN, but
no, I'm just. I can say shit, but you know. All right. Well, listen. I appreciate your time this Sunday night. I know you're busy, kids, etc. So,
what time is it?
Always appreciate you giving time.
Kids are at school tomorrow, and I'm playing golf with my fish man. I've got a guy that drives down my street, and I always have a bit of fish off him. So it's a guy that used to be, I think he was in, I don't want to say where he was actually, but he had a bad time. He was in rehab, so he'd been drinking too much and gambling and taking whatever drugs, and now he's back with his wife. He's got his young kid. And he's selling fish. So he goes to Grimsby, picks his fish up fresh, he fillets it all. He knows how to fillet the fish, fillets it really quick. Like telling me how he does these big salmon, like a metre long salmons. He can fillet them in like 2 minutes. And pulls up in his new van, his little freezer in the back of the van. So I have a couple of sea bass off him, some haddock for the kids. I get them prawns with a shell still on, rip the heads off them and fry them in some garlic and chili. So he's a big fan as well. He couldn't believe it. He's like, oh, I'd be honoured if you'd be a customer. And I was like, listen, mate, I like fish. I don't eat any meat. I'm a pescatarian now. I was vegetarian for a while. Now I eat fish. And I said, you've come at the right time. So I'm not just saying that, but I'll have some fish off you. So we've become really friendly, but he's a big golf. He's a golfer. He plays golf. And because I've been playing a bit of golf. So we've got a game of golf tomorrow. Taking him for a game of golf at Ruddington tomorrow. 10 o'clock tee off with Tom the fish man. Looking forward to it. That's why I asked you if you play golf earlier.
Oh,
but, yeah. It's not really, I ain't got really much else on, to be honest. What is it? 9:30. Game of golf tomorrow at 10 o'clock. After I drop the kids off from school, I might get ready to drop the kids off tomorrow. And then I'll go and have a strong coffee, game of golf, come back, go in the gym, pump some iron, drink some plant-based protein, eat some organic food, pan fry some sea bass in a bit of garlic. What do you do with your sea bass? Let me tell you what you do with your sea bass. Dead quick while I've got you on, because I know you want to know.
Yeah. So
you get a pan, you put a bit of oil in it, a bit of grease, and then you heat it up nice. Bit of chilies and garlic. If you don't want chilies, forget the chili, because it's fish. You don't really want to be chilling it up, but I like chilies with most things. So a bit of garlic and butter. So garlic, chop it up dead fine, put it in some butter, some organic butter, and spread that on top of the fish. The fish is sitting in a real shallow bit of fat on the skin side, so the skin can go quite crusty and kind of overcook the skin. And then when it's about half cooked, flip it over to the side with the butter and the garlic on it, and then flip it back. Yeah, because you don't want it too long. And then get some flour and put it in the sieve, and just sort of shake the sieve over the top of the fish. So there's a nice dusting of flour over the top of the fish. So you've got the fish, which is virtually cooked from the bottom. The skin, forget about the skin, that's burning, that's okay. And then you've got this succulent, juicy layer of butter and garlic, and it's just slightly cooked. And then you sprinkle the flour on top of it. You've still got the butter and the garlic on top of that. And then you flick it back over and let it finish off. Whack the heat up a bit, let it finish. And it puts a light, crunchy batter coating, garlic butter coating on top of the sea bass. Bed of rice, nice bed of rice. So a nice big pile of rice, because you've got to keep your carbs up. And then just some broccoli or some seasonal veg, whatever takes your fancy. Some asparagus. You can just shallow, just blanch them in the water, just slowly cook them really quick, take them out and then put them in the pan. Get them in the pan, bit of salt and pepper on that bit of veg, and then just a little drizzling of balsamic vinegar. So you've got your bed of rice, your fish, which is a nice crusty coating, and then your asparagus with a light drizzling of balsamic vinegar. Your mouth water, isn't it? And it takes about 10 minutes from start to finish, and you've got a healthy, organic meal. And all you do is wash that down with some distilled lemon water. A bit of distilled water, squeeze a lemon. Don't drink tap water. Absolute garbage. Distilled water, a bit of fish. When are you coming around for dinner?
Tomorrow.
You like the sound of that, don't you? It's even better.
It did sound
sea bass. The fresh king prawns. When you take the shell off them and you cook them, cut the backs and take the crap out of the back. Garlic and chili. You have chili on them. Plenty of butter as well. Oh mate, they're proper nice, succulent.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah, and you can have them with some tagliatelle and a bit of butter on them. You don't need any sauce, any crappy sauce out of jars. Don't need none of that shit.
No.
Do your own sauce. So yeah, that's what I'll do.
Well, it's a good tip to finish on anyway.
Yeah, you can cut all that bit out. Just keep that for yourself.
No, I'm leaving it in. There's a lot of cooking enthusiasts on the channel, so I'm sure they'll find that of interest, Carl.
Okay, fair enough. I should have saved that for my YouTube channel, shouldn't I?
Yeah, you should have done.
Podcast. Froch on fighting.
Froch on cooking, yeah. Carl Froch, thank you very much for talking to iField TV. Enjoy your day at golf tomorrow, and I'm sure there's a lot of fights coming up that we will catch up with you in person.
So no problem. It's always a pleasure talking to you, KUGAN. I'll hopefully see you at the next fight if you're allowed on.
I will be.
October 31st. I'm there, by the way.
I'll be there.
Yeah, so I'll see you down there. We'll do a little piece. We'll treat the fans again.
Absolutely. Carl Froch, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Good night, Kugan.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO. Free, impartial advice on all your debt.